and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep.
A beautiful day on our hands here.
It is.
So for the first time since last summer, my good friend Hunter came by and we caught up on everything.
Look at the smoke coming out of that chimney. Just like... I love... Oh.
We planned to spend this gorgeous Sunday outside on the trails. Ever since we rode sleds in Quebec a few years back, Hunter and I have been intoxicated by the free feeling. And to be able to ride through these hills and share the experience is a full circle dream. And we met up before the sun rose, like we always do, to make the most of every second of light.
I just love the idea, too, of combining the apartment and the office in a small space like that.
Private space, too.
Totally private. Right. And the reason that this was so cool in the beginning, especially for us when we first started, was it was like you went to work, and then your outside life was outside of that, but those lines have been long since blurred.
Yeah.
Like...
Well, and it was the team, and it's like now you're with Allie, so you can be in your like own space together, and
right.
It's different when it's me and Mitch.
Yeah.
Was that 5 years ago? I don't know. I just
no,
remember.
yeah, we knew each other before I moved to that apartment.
Yep.
There she is. Hallelujah.
Brighter than usual.
Let's get out of here.
Yeah.
So we were going to surprise Jack, pick up the sleds, and ride to the cabin where I'd show Hunter all the updates. And the top of the mountain was an ice crystal wonderland, adding a diamond-like shine to an already golden Sunday. It took a while to get the old girls running, but they fired up with a little persistence. And before we set off, Jack told us that John and his family were ice fishing on one of the ponds. And so instead of our initial plans, we decided to surprise John and spend the day out on the ice. I didn't film much, because I told myself I wanted to actually just live this Sunday instead of capture it. But if only you could have seen what it was like to drive through the trails. With the sparkling saplings leaning in and making ice tunnels, it was glorious.
Yeah. That's theater.
Welcome.
Welcome to this.
Very cool.
Oh my God, guys! It's alive!
Holy!
It's like, kick you $300 a month. You hold the license, and she's like, "Well, if whatever, but just
Whatever.
She seemed excited, like she didn't think
She wants something to happen.
She just wants something to happen."
I've spent every recent Sunday that I can remember in my office working. So it's always a treat to have a real old-fashioned New England Sunday like this. It brings back that same feeling I used to have as a kid, where you had nothing to think about but the here and now.
As far as I can tell, we're like pretty severely winning.
A lot of people would call it losing, but they'd be wrong. They'd be so wrong.
Called poverty, but they'll never know.
If you knew, you're done.
Yeah, cool.
And we huddled around the fire until dark, then putzed home through the forest with ear-to-ear grins. So I've officially... And not long after, Noah and Kaylee invited Allie and I over for dinner. And since it was one of the last nights we'd all spend together before they leave Dalton, every second was savored. All on that little menu?
All in the little thing, and then
Alright, so unsuspecting, right? I don't understand. It had...
Oh my gosh, this is so good. Oh, thank you. Wow.
I think it's purple. Give me the whole thing.
It's like that's probably better.
Noah made a fantastic Mediterranean dish, and we played Pablo until midnight. And not long after that, we had our last music night in Noah's studio, joined by Dan, our good friend and local barber. And it's always a blast to set up lighting and play around and try new things. You never regret creating something, especially documenting it with friends.
And this VMAT was powering that battery.
And somewhere in those days it snowed, and the earth turned from brown to white in minutes, which was much needed after a long dead period of rain. And so I broke away from the office and headed to the forest. We spent a lot of weeks without much snow, and the air felt like spring, but some mornings would be freezing, and overall, just kind of started to play with your head. I missed the 20-foot snowbanks and the endless storms of winters past, and I longed for that true hunkered-down feeling. And this day not only brought back that winter mood, but it brought a surprise as well. The storm had ended, and there was patches of blue sky, and I was driving around filming. And by the time I got down by the river, the flakes started falling again. They were big and slow and airy, and I didn't think anything of it. I just kept capturing the tiny details. But within minutes, it was a full-blown blizzard. A total whiteout, to the point I could barely see in front of me and drive. And since the flakes were so light and airy, I thought I could get away with flying the drone. And so against all odds, I sent that bird off into the storm.
Would you please recite it?
You want to hear me say that?
Certainly.
Yeah. Stopping by woods on a snowy evening. Whose woods these are, I think I know. His house is in the village, though. He will not see me stopping here to watch his woods fill up with snow. My little horse must think it queer to stop without a farmhouse near, between the woods and frozen lake, the darkest evening of the year. Gives his harness bells a shake to ask if there is some mistake. The only other sounds the sweep of easy wind and downy flake. The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep.